some media outlets have cut your segments or edited stories, whether it be your comments or Bill Clinton's comments, or have scrapped segments altogether. What's your take on that? You go out, you go ahead and speak about it, and then reporters deem, oh, well, her story, that's not important enough in this quote-unquote war on women.
Well, you're evidently talking about Andrea Mitchell on NBC.
Yes.
Yeah, that was... That made me very angry for her to call me back twice and want to interview me for their 6 o'clock or 5:30 news or whatever. And then when she did call back, say, well, there's really nothing new. Well, I told her in the beginning there was nothing new.
I mean, we're so inundated. I know you say you're not a political person, but, we're so inundated in this country now with, people picking and choosing sides of what they want to say is important to push their own narrative or their own agenda. But to play games with something as serious as a sexual assault or as serious as being threatened by high-powered politicians, but, choosing which ones you talk about or investigate based on party or based on ideology, that's pretty scary, not only, I would think, for the victims, but for everybody to not get the coverage and at least hear your stories.
Yeah, well, the main thing is I'm not political. I do not have a particular candidate at this time. I'm not saying that I won't in months to come, but I do not have a candidate that I'm pulling for or supporting. I am mainly wanting the American people to understand what the Clintons have done to me. And I think it's important for them to know their character and what they represent.
So I guess while some were very surprised when the names like Jennifer Flowers and Paula Jones and Monica Lewinsky and on trickled out, I guess it didn't surprise you at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, Juanita, we think you're brave, and I'm happy to speak to you and honored to speak to you, and it's great to know that you have moved on, but are warning people about what we're seeing here. And I know you mentioned your church groups and things you're involved in. What else is Juanita Broaddrick doing these days?
Juanita Broaddrick plays a lot of tennis, and when it's nice outside, I love to work out in the yard and take care of my grandson.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, you hear somebody like this, you're not looking for anything. Why would you make up such a horrible thing if it weren't true? I mean, I think that's the take of so many. And
I went through a whole hour yesterday of being interviewed by Candace Jackson. She's an attorney in California that wrote the book Their Lives. And we sat here at my home. She flew in from California, and we sat here and we talked for probably a total of 7 hours, just what my life is like, which my life is very good. Until I see the Clintons on TV, I become very upset. But my life is very good. I've gone on, and I have no complaints.
Well, that's amazing right there. I mean, you're showing what kind of person you are and the determination to do that. Let's finish up here, Juanita. Let's tell our listeners, what's your overall take of Hillary Clinton as a person and as a presidential candidate?
Oh, I think she's completely undesirable. I think she does not tell the truth, and I do not think that she would be good for our country.
And Bill Clinton, he gets a free pass from a lot of people. I mean, we see what's going on with others in headlines right now who, deservedly so, are being looked into for their past discretions or things that they've done illegally. Bill Clinton, not this lovable guy that the Democrat Party likes to make him out to be.
Oh, yeah. He's a very evil person. And, Candace asked me a question yesterday. She said, you're very involved in your church and you're a very Christian person. She said, could you ever find it in your heart to forgive him? And boy, I had to stop and think about that a long time. But my answer is no. I can never forgive him for what he did to me.
Well, Juanita, we appreciate your honesty, and we pray for you, and I know that there's a lot more important things out there than the Clintons, especially your grandchildren and the things that you're involved in your church, and you know what, we're glad to get your message out there, and thank you for taking the time with us, and you know what, now that you're this Twitter expert, we'll direct everybody to your Twitter account.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm not an expert. I still have a lot to figure out on it, but thank you.
Hey, listen, I remember even when I started, the first few times you're like, hey, what's going on here? But once you're on, it's a pretty good avenue, and, 140 characters or less.
When I saw them on TV and him out campaigning for his wife, I sat there and I thought, I've got to do something. And I sat on Twitter for the longest time because I didn't know that there was a letter total that you could put in. So I had this long drawn-out thing, and then I had to edit it, and then I waited for a while when I got down to 0 on number of letters that you could put in, and I thought, oh, what the heck, and I just punched tweet.
Well, you're very gracious for being here, and you're delightful to talk to. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
For more on Juanita Broaddrick, you can follow her on Twitter at ATENSNUT. That's ATENSNUT. Donald Trump steamrolled the competition in South Carolina this past weekend before his huge showing in the Palmetto State. Governor Palin wrote on social media, quote, "Today is the day, South Carolina. Get out and vote for Donald J. Trump. Make America great again," unquote. Gamecock Country did its job. Way to go, Mr. Trump. This past week, Sarah Palin exposed Ted Cruz and his crony Glenn Beck, posting links to multiple pieces on their hijinks. Palin wrote on Facebook, Ted Cruz's star spokesman and campaign partner Glenn Beck promises he will support a socialist versus the pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-growth, pro-American GOP frontrunner. What's conservative about that? She added Beck would have chosen Hillary Clinton over the GOP nominee and evidently thinks Barack Obama's a pretty swell guy as president. What's judicious about that? Beck proclaims his hatred for the American victims of 9/11, the innocent victims, mind you, not the evil terrorists. What's honorable about that? Beck joins Cruz in inviting more illegals to break America's laws as the two link arms to greet illegal immigrants at the border with rewarding gifts of soccer balls and teddy bears. What's celebratory about that? Beck is known for his continuous mocking of Americans who may disagree with his puzzling antics while crying just last night, "Why mock me?" What's consistent about that? Beck will go ballistic after reading this post and will ramp up his unjustified attacks against Donald Trump, me, my faith, and you for acknowledging all this I've outlined in his own words. What's smart about that? And again, Palin provides all the links, so it's really Beck taking care of his own fate on this one. And this past week, after Taylor Swift made history at the Grammys, Governor Palin gave her a shout-out, saying congrats to Taylor Swift, who made Grammy history and has good advice for young women. Palin then posted a quote from Swift, which read, "As the first woman to win Album of the Year at the Grammys twice, I want to say to all the young women out there, there are going to be people along the way who will try to undercut your success or take credit for your accomplishments or your fame." Powerful words from Swift. And then Palin writes, "Congrats, Taylor. Thanks for being sweet to Piper a few years back." Palin included a picture of her daughter, Piper, with the music sensation. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page, follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA, and check out sarahpac.com.